Welcome to In the Arena. I'm your host, Mindy McAlindon. Joining me today in the arena is Heather Sellers. She is a senior leader with the Leadership Institute, and she is heading up a new program that is a women's program in Leadership Institute designed to train women to be leaders. Hope you'll join us. Heather, welcome to the program. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Mindy. This is a great honor. I appreciate it. I changed my flight to be here. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Oh, you're so kind. Well, I am too. I love having conversations with you. You bring so much to the party. So before we jump in, let's talk about the beginning. How'd you get into politics? Tell me a little bit about your background and why you've been in politics as long as you have.
Well, I could go way back to, I started it by being an intern in D.C., met a man that was running for U.S. Senate that was introduced to me by Senator Thad Cochran from Mississippi at the time. Thought, oh, well, we're going to win, right? I mean, why wouldn't we? He did not win. We traveled the whole state of Alabama. I fell in love with politics and just meeting people and then knowing what legislation could do and how it could affect them with a good leader. And 2 years later, Richard Shelby became a conservative at the time, Republican senator, which was good for us. And so just being in politics with my husband all these years, I've loved it. And so that is how I have found my way. I've ran for office. I've ran for school board. I won that. I ran for a position that you now know how to hold in the legislature. I did not win that, but I think that loss taught me more about myself and about the process than the win did. Plus, I was on the school board for 6 long years. That was tough. So I want to help people. I've learned through what we can do to really good leadership, knowing what bills will make effect in their districts, in their counties, in their areas, in their states. And then, you look at the news. I mean, good leaders make a difference. Look at the country now. I'm very proud to be an American.
So it's interesting to me. I do think school board is one of the most difficult positions that you can have because seems like no one's ever happy. Right? It seems like, and parents are, I know I am. Parents are passionate when it comes to their kids. And so I can only imagine 6 years is a long time on school board.
It was a 6 long, I say, sentence. It was actually a term. But I did it for my two children, and I wouldn't, undo that. I mean, I learned so much about myself and learned that you have to really work with your board. And that's one thing that I feel like in this world of politics, it's learning how to really get things going and moving. And it's like the Kenny Rogers song, when to hold them and fold them. And sometimes you need to walk away. And so that kind of leads me into where I am now and what I'm doing now. And I'm just delighted to be able to talk to you about Leadership Institute today.
Let's do it. Let's jump in. So for our listeners who don't know, what is Leadership Institute?
So Leadership Institute is a 501c3 conservative organization where we go out and we train people to be good leaders. And that can be through programs of just learning how to just get out there and campaign for someone. What does it mean to go knock on a door? Or what does it mean if you're a candidate to raise money? What does it mean to have a good message? And so we were started by an RNC member from Virginia who worked for, at the time, Ronald Reagan, and he believed, like Reagan did, that we are one generation away from losing conservatism. And so Morton started this organization in 1979. And so through that, we have had trainings all over the country, now internationally, and now we have specialty programs where we go in and specialize. And so I'm proud to say that I think I left the room and they chose me. I don't know how it happened, but I am now the director of the Women's Leadership Program that had been the Riley Gaines Center. And we love Riley. She went to get married and have a baby. And so we've taken that program where we're going to go out and really help women. And so we have other programs we can talk about today, but obviously I've got my pink pen on, and that's the one that's very dear to my heart.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about this women's program, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about just some generalities. So what is the purpose of the program? You said it was to help women candidates, help women out, just helping other candidates. What is the scope of your program?
So I always tell everyone what the definition of our program is. It's created by women, it's trained by women, and it is for women. And so the women in the room are women that really want to succeed in leadership roles. It doesn't have to be running for office. However, that's a lot of what women are looking to do, right? Is to run for a school board, run for city council, run for the legislature, run for Congress. And so, yes, we want women to at that level, but we also want to help women that maybe are grassroots organizers. We have several women that have attended our classes that want to go further and start their own organization in their states and their cities and their counties. And so we want to give them that foundation. So I will tell you, we're going to have our first meeting coming up in February. I know we're in February now, but it's the end of February, where we've had some women. I mean, we have a wait list that's, pretty deep already, but we have some ladies that are going to come in and help us kick off our inaugural event with great speakers. And honestly, Mindy, we're going to see where it goes. I mean, I know that when I ran for office, it took 4 to 5 people and asked for me to decide to run for school board. I was like, no, I don't have time. I don't want to take away from my children. I'm not smart enough for this. I don't know what the rules are. What does it mean? And so most women feel that way. They want to read over the resume. They want to know what they're getting into before they jump in, where, no offense, we love our men. Sometimes they'll just jump in and take it for, take it for a whim and see what happens with them. Whereas women really are more nurturers, they're thinkers. And so this program is to help women on all levels to not only have good speakers that talk about how they got started and where they are now, but also help the attendees to really look at where they are and what is that next step for them. And it does not have to be running for office or starting an organization, anything like that, but just to think about what their leadership skills are and what they can do with them. And if you know what your skills are, that and your knowledge, that's your power. And so I am thrilled that we are going to have these all over the country. I am signed up for many classes where I'll be doing this in many states. I'm looking forward to coming to your state. I believe there's a 25th anniversary or birthday coming up that I'm hopefully going to be attending as well in Arkansas. But, we'll then have specialty classes. And so that's the way it's organized for now. And that's how we feel like we can best serve women in leadership roles.
So it is so interesting. And I've heard this from a lot of different organizations that women do tend to demur when it comes to no, I'm not ready to run for office. I don't want to, I'm not fully ready for that position. Even when you think about women applying for jobs, it's the same thing, right? No, I don't fit all those qualifications, so I'm not going to apply. Where men tend to have a little more confidence in that and be like, well, I mean, I can probably do it and apply. And so I don't know why that is, but it seems to pan out not just in politics, but kind of everywhere, right? That women just want to be sure. And it's not that we're not capable, but we just need that little extra boost. And it sounds like you're kind of giving women that opportunity to explore that, to say you are capable. Does that sound?
That is exactly right. We want women to have the confidence that they need. We want them to feel good about their leadership skills. And look, I mean, there's going to always be something that everyone can work on. But if we can help them feel they know where they shine the most and to put that out there first, and then the areas that they need to work on, we want to help them work on that. We also want to surround these women in all states, no matter whether they come to one of our specialty classes or in their states where they have someone, right? Like I have someone if I'm having an issue or a problem or a question that I can reach out to, because honestly, if you have that and you have that network, that is what's going to be so beneficial. So we're going to talk about networking. We're going to also talk about having a Ring camera like I had in my suitcase for this. I don't mind telling you, because I've also got a Zoom on Sunday night that I'll be doing. And so, having the equipment and the ability to jump in wherever you are at whatever stage and to put your best foot forward. And sometimes, those doors open and you may think you're not ready, but you need to move in. in and try and lean in, because you never know. And so I will tell everyone that's watching this, what makes you successful? If you ask me that one question, I'm going to say, find your passion. Find your passion, and that is what's going to be absolutely where you're going to shine. For me, I don't know that I was shining on the school board. However, my passion was my children.
I'm
And I
sure that you
ran and
were.
I did it. Right now, I truly love to help people. I get calls all the time, and I was so thrilled when Leadership Institute started this program for women. Now, we love our men. Don't get me wrong, but I go back when I heard about it, I started thinking and just kind of going into like, well, how does this work and what does it look like? And we don't want to just slap women on it, the name women on the program. And I remembered, now this is kind of funny, but when I went to school, my first 2 years was at a girls' school in Virginia, Mary Baldwin. Very tough school, made straight A's. I studied very hard. I transferred to Ole Miss, and you being a Southern girl know how those Southern schools are. They're fun, right? You got SEC football.
They
I
are
didn't make
fun.
straight A's. I didn't make straight A's. And so I feel like this
It
program
was
is going
different than the
to,
girls' school, right?
yeah, it was so different. And both of them were great, but I feel like if we are able to bring women to talk to each other and just to have that honest conversation where they can just evaluate themselves, feel good about what they are strong about, and then work on the things that they need to be stronger on, that's where they're going to be able to do this. And it's not going to be women from their area. We're bringing women from all over the country. So it will be women where they don't know them, and they'll be brutally honest and helpful, right? And they won't take it as something that they're offended by. So that to me is very important for us to help them so that they can become the leaders that they should be and that they are. But maybe in the back of their heads, they're thinking, I might not should do this. But if we just help them just a little bit, and we do other programs too, Mindy. We have so many programs with Leadership Institute. I'm just grateful that we have opportunities for these women to go into other programs after they leave the women's leadership program.
Well, let me ask you
I'm
a quick
happy to.
question on the women's leadership program. So, for women, like let's say I'm not interested in running for office, right? But maybe I just want to get involved with my PTO, or maybe I just want to get involved with a non-for-profit, and I want to, I don't know, maybe head a committee. Like, is this something that would be beneficial for those women too? Or are we really, people going to these programs really need people who are thinking they're going to run for office kind of thing?
So we have several of the women that are coming for this one in February that have never been involved in politics, but they have had an
Okay.
interest and they are very interested in doing some things for their community. And so whether they do ever run or whether they form a group, etc., I mean, this is going to be helpful to them. So the answer is you do not have to run for office. You don't have to qualify for an office to come to this. I think for a lot of the women, I'm thinking about who all's coming. I think some of them, they've just been real involved in some of their active in their clubs, and they want to know, how do they help women to get to recruit more? What do they do? And then what can they do? But they do not want to run for office. And I get that. I mean, you don't have to have that on your disclaimer of what you're doing to come to this program.
That is awesome. And so, just wrap this up with this topic. Where would people find out about when it's coming to their state?
Yes, so they can obviously always reach out to me, but they can go to leadershipinstitute.org, and we have all of our programs listed there. And so that gives them, the ability to do that, or they can reach out to me at Heather Sellers at leadershipinstitute.org, and that is my email there. So happy to
Perfect.
answer questions and happy to get them
Yeah,
on that pathway.
that's wonderful. I think it's going to be a great program. We had Julie Harris, prior NFRW president, of course, on last week, and she was even talking about this program. I think she's going to be speaking with y'all as well. So yes, very excited program. So let's talk a little bit more about Leadership Institute and kind of the bigger scope of what they do besides just the women's programming. You train leaders, you train a lot of candidates or candidate adjacent people. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, we do. We
Okay,
have
so
all.
let's talk. Go ahead.
No, yes, you're right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So let's talk a little bit about maybe what are the biggest mistakes that people make, first time candidate makes when they go out there that you're seeing as you're doing your trainings?
So, to be honest, I feel like a lot of times candidates just put their names on the ballot and they're not fair to their voters because they don't work. And I have a saying: you can be cheap and you could be lazy, but you can't be both. Meaning, just putting your name on the ballot and not really having that pathway to victory. And look, I get it. I mean, I've worked numerous races across the country with candidates, with myself, and you've got to really get out there. So there's a lot that you need to know, and I recommend always for candidates to have worked on another campaign, to have someone that's a mentor, to know what that was like, to know how they form a budget, to know how you network, to know how the votes come in. I mean, the undervotes. I mean, a lot of times, a lot of candidates, they'll try to go in and run for Congress or governor, right? Or Senate, US, federal, and not start off at races like local races. And after COVID, I feel like we realized how important these local races are. Yes, it's great to think about going to DC and being in the White House. Mr. Smith goes to Washington. However, there's, a smart way to do it. And you need to at least know how it works, how the process works, some of the things that candidates don't realize. I mean, they are opening up themselves and they have then got to explain who they are and why does it matter and why should the voter vote for them. Messaging is one of the, I tell candidates, you're doing two things. You're asking for votes and you're asking for money. You're asking for money and you're asking for votes. They go like this. And it's not that, you're just trying to take that money and not do good things. You're trying to message with it. You're trying to be smart about getting out there and seeing people and letting them know what you're running for and why it would help them. And that takes a lot. And it's having, again, it goes back to the passion. You can be passionate and want to run just right off the cuff first time for US Senate. But I will say that's a big jump, right? And so you need to have better understanding of what all the offices mean and how they work so that when you go out, you'll know exactly what you can do with the person you're asking for their vote. And if you're not able to answer that and really understand the process, then I say get on a campaign, learn it, because it's everything rolls, right? You need a good bench. You need people that are there, and it's okay to be just there where you're just going out helping them door knock. And I say just like that's a big job is to coordinate and organize and get to talk to people. And so every role is important, whether you're the candidate or whether you're someone that's, making phone calls and getting out there and knocking doors.
No, I think that's great advice, actually, to have worked on a campaign and to see what that is. And you're right. People do like that ideal of like, I'm going to run for office and I'm going to DC and this is my first time out. And we see that all the time, right? And sometimes those are great candidates. It doesn't mean that they're not, but to have had some experience, and I don't mean a lifetime of experience. I don't think anyone should spend their life in as an elected official, but to have some understanding of what that means, I think you bring a richness to the position. And you also have an understanding of what it means to speak one-on-one with a constituent, right?
Yeah,
Those are the people that you're representing. And I think it's really important to make that connection. I love that you said that.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that was great.
important.
So, and it sounds like, do you hear people saying all the time, I feel called to serve?
I do.
You know what I mean? People always say, I feel called to serve. And so what does that mean to you when people say that?
So I asked them back, what are you going to do? What calling is it when you get called? Like, now what's the strategy? Like I could get called to go eat some cookies, and I probably shouldn't do that right now, right? I mean, I can come up with some things too I'm called for, and I'm not
Yeah.
belittling where people get frustrated and they want to run, but I want them to have the background. It's not like we can just get off the sofa and go run a marathon, right? We have to get out
Mhm.
there. We have to train. We have to practice. We have to do these things to get us and fit and get ready for that. No different than an election. You need to start with how much did the last person pay to or raised for to win this election? Okay. How many votes did it take for them to win? How many people were in the election? How long had they been there? What is their name ID? What is the election date? Like, know the information. Start from election date and go backwards. And that is a strategy and a plan. You can't win without that. And if you don't know, I mean, when there's enough that you don't know that's going to happen during an election, that just happens. And I sometimes call that your lightning in a bottle. And you also need to be prepared, because if you're in a race where you start to pop up and your opponent see it, get ready. I call it a hit. You're going to get hit. And it might not be a personal below the belt hit, but it could be a hit on, well, what do they know? They've never been involved in politics, etc. And so you need to be prepared for that. I mean, I was not prepared to not win my legislative race. I mean, I'm still like, what? But I mean, I was a 30-year-old mom of two, and my average voter
Yeah.
was 65 plus. And, sweet Dimitri, he had a meet and three, and everybody at 65 plus ate at his restaurant. Of course, they were going to vote for him for legislative office. And so I have to realize when I talk to candidates that I believe in them, but they've got to believe in the process, and they've got to understand what that process is and be ready, because not one race has ever been the same since I've been working races, following races all in my life. They're all different, and the voters are different, and their issues and their concerns are different. And look, I've had a race, one vote. That was awful. Provisional votes. You got to go back and count them. Like, that's the thing that candidates have to be prepared for. So they can be called. I get it. And I appreciate them
Right.
wanting to be involved, but they need to know it's work. It's not just put your name on the
Yeah.
ballot. That's not fair to the voters. It's really not fair. And that's
Oh,
the
I agree with
trainings that
that.
we
And there are
get.
lots of ways to be involved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is.
Sorry, didn't mean to jump on you. We have a little delay there. Okay. It sounds like there's a lot of opportunity at Leadership Institute. People can go to leadershipinstitute.org to find out what kind of classes you have. Are they expensive?
No, they're not. I'll just go ahead and tell you, we are
Yeah.
funded by our donors, and so our donors give to us. Morton was very smart about this. When he started this organization, it was a 501c3. We're a conservative organization. We do not turn people away. We try to show them the core values of being conservative. Now, for me, it's God, babies, and guns. Okay, I'm a hunter, and I'm a mom and a family, and church is important. So what is your conservative values? And we try to help you. When you come to us for a training, we don't tell you what you should say. We don't tell you what your values should be. We don't tell you how to do things. We position it where here is how to look at it. Here is how to plan. And then you take that knowledge and that information and you work it around whatever it is that you're doing, whether you are wanting to be a larger leader in your community, or again, run for office or start an organization. We want to help where you have the core basic values. And it could be getting out the vote. We do a lot of trainings. During the presidential year, we did 90 trainings in 90 days. We got out there and we trained people, and we did not wear a sticker or logo for either of the candidates. We are a conservative organization. We did not turn people away. We want people to get involved and engaged. We want to show them the difference between, getting out there and voting and what good leadership looks like. But we never try to tell you what your leadership skills or styles need to say or be. We can help you plan and organize, and then you come up with your slogans and with your talking points, and we show you great examples of here's something that someone that said this and here's someone that said this, which one works. We also have a program that I love. It's called Leadership Styles. And Mindy, we can all get like this, right? In these political worlds. And so
Oh yeah.
if we learn to understand someone's style as well as your style, I'm not an accountant. I mean, I am a get out there girl. I'm not going to sit where I'm going to look at numbers all day. But I have to have that. I need that, right? I need somebody to do my taxes because you don't want me doing them. But the point to that is that we need to learn what someone's true shine skill is so that we can then appreciate it. That's all that it is there. And so every candidate's different. Every campaign is different. The makeup of who you bring in is real important. And we talk about that as well. But with Leadership Institute, I will say this. We have regionals in all of the U.S. where they handle states. Some handle just one state. Some handle 5 or 6 states. And so we have regional directors, and they do good trainings that will hit on all levels in every state. Then we have programs like the Women's Leadership Program. We have the Legislative Leadership Program. We have Parliamentary Leadership Program. We have school boards. We have, we have community and local program. You can look it up on our website. We have CLC where you go and it's a 9-day candidate class. And that is a really good class if you're thinking to run, for the legislature, et cetera. And then we have another program where it's international. And I still haven't gotten that invitation to Rome, or Paris, but I'm looking
Yeah.
for it.
You need to
But
work on that one.
yeah, but I mean, we have programs all over. And again, we are funded by our donors. So our donors want us to
Yeah.
go out and do these classes. And so a lot of times they're free. Sometimes we'll charge $10 or $15 to get people to come, but we want
Yeah.
them to see what all we can do.
Well, I've brought in Leadership Institute. I've done some of your classes online. They've been great. I've never actually been able to do one in person. I should get up to DC and get one in person. But I've brought them in as National Committee woman. I've brought y'all in to do stuff in for our county committees, right? And to
Yeah,
say,
you
okay, we've
have.
got a county committee. We're going to bring 3 or 4 county committees together, and let's train on grassroots, or train on whatever it is, knocking doors, or whatever that need was for the county committee. And it's been fantastic. And every time our county committees are like, oh, let's do that again. I'm like, well, I mean, they have other states they got to get to. But so it's been really beneficial on a lot of different levels.
Thank
So
you.
we love Leadership Institute.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All
Thanks.
right, one more question, and then I will let you go, because I know you were traveling, and I think we just kind of caught you as you were flying off the plane here. But this should be an easy one for you. So tell me, of all the stuff that you've done a ton of campaigns, you've served yourself, and then you've done so many countless trainings. Tell me one thing that you are most proud of that you have accomplished. It's a tough one.
Probably you caught me at a time that I am grateful for my hunting, and that's just a hobby that I'm doing. And so with my sister, my dad is in the Pope and Young Hall of Fame. And so I say that because Safari Club International is next week, and we are going to go and look at all the hunts. And so we do sister hunts now. And so that's something I wouldn't say so proud of, but I would say it brings me a lot of joy, is going on these hunts with my
Mm-hmm.
sister. We've gone on, I've got a gator scar. It's actually a scope burn, but I killed a 12-foot gator. And we went on a
Oh my
moose
goodness.
hunt, and that was fun. We just recently went on a bear hunt in May in Alaska. Got to see Carmilla, who's the
Oh,
chairman
she's
in
great. Yeah,
Alaska.
love her.
She is. And I called her. I said, "Hey, I just booked a bear hunt. Can I do a training up there for some conservative voters?" She was like, "Yes." I was like, "Good." An activist. And so we did that right after the bear hunt. But, I just think that staying where my feet are solid, I'm grateful for this position that I'm in. I don't, I mean, I think they just kind of said, well, let's just she's the last one to leave the room. Let's give it to Heather. I don't know, but I lean in on it. I want to
You and I
help
both know that's
people.
not true.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
know, but I think that the balance in your life, and that's something that I always try. And so I'm proud of the fact that, I'm very family oriented, but I've also found something that's fun with my sister. So I have my bear on today, and I always think about that, the mama bear in me as well. But I go back to the values, and I tell people in my trainings, find the things that make you happy and stick with them. And they could change. Like my kids aren't young anymore. They're not fun anymore. My two nieces and nephew are. And so I just recently went snow skiing with them. Almost killed me. Oh my gosh, Mindy. Oh my
Nice.
gosh. They are exhausting. A 1, 4, and 7. But finding the joy in
Oh
your
my goodness.
life.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
thing I want to tell people always. And don't take yourself so seriously. Like, winning is real important, but it does not define you. If you do not win, look at all the things that you have done in your race or in your life that can bring other things that go somewhere else. So I'm just in a, midterm or mid 55-year-old me. What's going to happen the next last years of my life and chapters. And if I can help people, I want to do it. But for me, I always try to find joy and try to make sure that I'm doing good things.
That's a fantastic answer. Have you been to Arkansas? Because we have some pretty amazing duck. I don't know if you're a duck hunter, but we have some pretty amazing duck hunting in Arkansas.
I have not been to Arkansas for duck hunting. I'd love to come. Invite me.
You need to come. Yeah, you need to come. We have some pretty amazing places to go.
Good.
So I'm inviting you right now.
Okay. Hey, I have my calendar. I'm
Well,
ready. Tell me when to
well,
put it on
Heather,
it.
thank you so much for your time. It has been great catching up with you, and I hope you have a successful trip.
Thank you. I do
Or
too.
oh, well, I'll call you later. We'll get it done.
Thank you, Mindy, for having me. I really appreciate you allowing me to talk about all we do.
I can't wait. It's going to be a big success. Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed our conversation today with Heather Sellers. She is a senior leader with Leadership Institute, and Leadership Institute works to identify, train, equip conservative leaders, activists, candidates across the country. Heather works specifically training women to give women that confidence and the knowledge and the experience to go out and lead in their communities, whether that's through being a candidate or just being a leader in their school or in their volunteer organizations. So I hope you've learned a lot, and I look forward to seeing you next week in the arena.